Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with jazz trumpeter Rebecca Coupe Franks. We spoke with her on July 3rd, 2020 during the COVID-19 world of no live music about her latest 2020 CD, Every Little Thing Counts. She was born and raised in California and currently resides in New York. And she opens up about her 35-year career in the jazz world. So get to know her and enjoy this interview. Thank you for taking a minute out. It's a very strange time on the planet, so I appreciate the minute to talk about music. So, where are you located? How's everything going?
Things are good. I'm not in the heart of the city. I'm out like an hour and a half north of Manhattan.
Okay.
It's the Hudson Valley, Gardiner. I live in like New Paltz. Obviously not as bad as New York City because it's kind of rural-ish. It's a little college town sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you know, we're still being very careful out here, of course.
Yeah.
And everybody's kind of, it's weird. The new norm now is different. It's just different. So.
Yeah. It's bizarre. Well, I think it's probably a good time to talk about music. You have a new album that's coming out during a pandemic, Every Little Thing Counts. So talk to me a little bit about your thoughts on releasing an album during this time.
Well, when I started to, I booked the recording session actually March 13th, that weekend, and I had Cheryl Bailey and Aaron Kamas and Jesse Murphy coming in, and you know, this all just kind of hit right then, right? So, I mean, I didn't really plan it this way at all. It just kind of happened. So, once you know, it was sort of in motion, or the recording was in motion. It's sort of hard, I don't know if it's just my personality, but I feel like once I get that momentum, I just kind of want to get it done, you know? So I was lucky enough to have the recording studio close to my place, and the engineer, you know, worked with me even, you know, 6 feet apart or whatever, and then I sent it away to a different engineer to get it mixed and mastered. But, I mean, it's not ideal. I mean, obviously I didn't really plan it to come out during a pandemic, but in a weird way, maybe it's just the way it's supposed to be, because that's just the way it is. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect, but right now I think it's okay because that's just what it is. So that's kind of, you know, it's right now.
No, I dig it, and I think the interesting thing about this is I've talked to a lot of musicians during this time, and one of the most interesting things I heard was there might be a really special place in the history of releasing albums for people to release it during this time. You know, have you ever thought about that? Because people have more latitude to listen and that kind of thing.
Yeah, like as far as the pandemic goes, I mean, I don't know if it's a perfect or a great time, but definitely one to remember, I guess. Like my daughter just graduated high school and didn't really have a graduation, like, you know, but she had this different kind of graduation. So virtually, whatever. So we just kind of make do with what we got going on as artists, you know. And I think there's a reason for it, that it came out at this time right now. So
talk to me a little bit about your beginnings. You're from California. Talk to me a little bit about how jazz became your life.
I grew up in Palo Alto, California, and then I moved to Aptos, which is near Santa Cruz, California, Northern California. And there was a strong jazz band teacher, I guess you could say, jazz band music director at the high school I was at. And we were lucky enough to have, he had connections with in LA with Bill Berry and his big band, and like Conte Candoli, Cat Anderson, Ray Brown, Marshall Royal. I mean, all these really, Dave Frischberg, I mean, all these great musicians would come to our high school and play. And Blue Mitchell, I mean, so many great musicians, and I think that really influenced me, because I knew I loved playing the trumpet, but I just got really turned on to the music, and after that, I just, you know, I played in a lot of like Latin groups in San Francisco and salsa bands, and kind of just making enough money to sort of pay the rent, whatever. But then I moved to Manhattan after that, and went to new school, and also was around some amazing musicians, Art Farmer. I even got to play with Harry Sweets and Edison. I mean, I got to play with these great musicians. Kenny Barron, I could just name so many. Art Blakey. So I was there, in the late 80s, and there was just so much jazz going on in the village and around the city. So once again, I was just really in it, So basically that's kind of what happened. It just kind of like picked me up, and I've sort of just kind of been rolling with that feeling. I mean, I was a real Miles fan, Miles Davis fan, and Clifford Brown. Those were like my two big influences as far as like people I used to listen to like a bunch. Then I've kind of evolved to my own compositions. I've always been interested in, writing. Whenever I record, I usually just record my own material. So I've been writing a lot of music throughout my life, and I guess it's my way of expression and my emotions, and it's just the kind of the way that my art like has kind of, the media of music has been my way of putting my emotions out there and stuff like that. So that's why this album is a little different, because I'm singing on it too. And I've written lyrics before, I mean, in my other albums, but I've never put out an album that I've sang the whole thing. So it's a little bit vulnerable, but different, because it's not so much focused on my trumpet and improvisation as other albums I put out. But anyway, so yeah, I kind of dapper different kinds of styles and genres, and I like all kinds of music. And as far as being a trumpet player, I always kind of lean towards the jazz world, just because it was a little more expressive for me to play, opposed to playing in a symphony or something like that. At least that was my own personal taste to do that. So, yeah.
Right on.
I kind of just lean that way.
So talk to me a little bit about, what do you like the best about being a musician?
I really enjoy sharing my music with people, and being able to play with great musicians. I don't know how much I like being a musician. I mean, it's just kind of something that I've always done, and I love and I'm passionate about. And I enjoy listening to music, and so I guess it just kind of happened that I'm a musician. So it's something it just fell into my lap like that. I mean, if I could be something else, I would have done that too. I mean, it just happened. I'm a musician.
It's almost like it picked you, correct?
Pardon me?
It's almost like it picked you.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm feeling. Yeah, kind of like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm very. My whole life I've been a musician, so I don't know what it would be like not to be a musician. So
yeah.
But I have other interests. I mean, other things I like to do besides music. But as far as I'm very dedicated to being a musician. Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about, we're going to get out of COVID-19. We're going to get back to live jazz. What do you hope both the audience and the musician realizes from this time away from live jazz?
I think people are really missing the live music. I mean, that's huge. Just playing music and having people there listening to it, it's just such a different vibe to it than in your room playing with Zoom or Skype or whatever. I think people are just gonna probably appreciate it and a lot more maybe, and realize what a spectacular thing it is to be able to go hear music in person.
So talk to me a little bit about, everyone has a perception of you, your family, your friends, your fans, but you're the one that's living your life. Who do you think you are?
Wow. Okay. That's deep. God. Who do I think? Well, I always thought I was Miles Davis reincarnated, but that didn't quite turn out that way. But let's see. Well, I just think I'm a musician. I think it's been a little challenging being a woman in the jazz world. Just because, I mean, definitely could tell you some stories about that. But I think I'm a good role model for the up and coming generations coming, and I want to, keep playing and writing music. I mean, that's pretty much what I'll probably do forever.
Hey, thank you for taking a minute out. I really just kind of wanted to touch base on the new album and your life in music, so I appreciate you taking some time out today.
Right on. Thanks for calling.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in California, New York, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. Thanks to Rebecca for her time, music, and story. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino on the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
It would be Neon Jazz.